Work is Work, podcast by Vinny T. I put the work in, whole squad be urchin.
All right, back another episode. Made it to I think we did number 4. As always, I'm Vinny T, and as always, I have a guest. Do I need to say anything before I do this? No. Okay. Just introduce yourself and tell us what you do for work.
All right. I'm Keshni.
Yeah, go.
Again?
Yeah, just a bit closer. Nice.
All right. So I'm Keshni, and I'm a high school teacher.
What year level?
Currently doing Year 12 literacy.
Oh, shit.
Um,
I was expecting year 12.
well, Year 12 literacy, they are the vocational major students, so previously known as VCAL.
Yep.
And
So the naughty kids in...
The fun kids.
Yeah, the fun kids.
Kids.
Fun
No,
kids.
the ones that you can have a bit of banter with.
Yeah.
And also I do Year 8 English as well.
Year 8 is... How old is...
They're like
14.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Before we start going, I asked you a question before we started. It's like, how well do you know your Pokemon?
Yeah. Oh God, now I'm nervous.
Fairly well.
Okay.
You know
with
names.
it. Yeah, I know names.
All right. So, if you are going to talk about your students,
Okay.
we're going to call them Pokemon,
Okay.
and then you just give them Pokemon names,
Okay.
so you don't get in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if like John can be Charizard, whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case.
All right.
All right. So what I do is I'll try to start from the start, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. So your first job, paid job?
First paid job. I don't like to consider it my first job, though it was my first job.
Yeah.
I worked at Big W.
The one near Central Square?
Yes, it was like the biggest thing that was opening
Yeah.
back then. And pretty much.
A walkway. I was 2 minutes away from that.
Yes, and yeah.
Do you know Dayan? A guy named Dayan?
From?
Big W? He worked at Big W too. So my third guess, he also worked there.
Oh, at
The
Central
same one,
Square.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when it opened, it advertised to all like the local schools.
Yeah.
I mean, they needed cheap labor, I guess, so like they just filled it up with all the students from the area.
Yeah.
But I think I only really did like, I want to say 3 weeks max before I started just like, oh, I can't come, or I'm sick, or I just didn't turn up a few times, and then they just stopped calling me.
Really? I've found out everyone's first job, we just never rocked up again.
Yeah. It was never
wasn't
like
very formal.
Yeah, it wasn't a resignation or anything. It was just stop answering their phone calls, and they just stopped calling.
Yeah.
But after that, because that was like in year 10.
Yeah.
Year 10 or 11. And after that, my first job that I kind of held on to for a few years was at the Rotunda on Williamstown Beach.
Rotunda. Why does that sound familiar?
Okay.
Is it still called Rotunda?
Look,
I'd
imagine so. It was called the Rotunda. It was this little hut, and it sold like ice cream and fast food.
Yeah.
And upstairs was like a sit-down cafe.
Yeah.
So I worked there. Started at the end of 2005. So the year that I finished high school, I started, and then I worked there for like ongoing for like 4 years.
Why'd you pick that place? It was just advertising?
No, so my brother worked there, and all of his friends worked there.
Wait. What's your brother's name?
Serge.
Serge. Did he work at McDonald's?
He did work at McDonald's.
I worked with him.
Oh, did you? At like Ring Road.
Yeah.
Oh, he worked there for ages.
Oh shit! Small world. Wow.
Yeah, I had no idea that you knew my brother. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you had a brother. And
Yeah.
I thought, I'm pretty sure I worked with him. Yeah, I worked with him at McDonald's.
Yeah.
That was my first job as well.
Oh, that was his first job as well.
Yeah, I think I was there just before him, and he came after, or vice versa.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a small world.
Yeah, my sister was like a manager there.
Oh.
That's how I got my job there.
Right. Yeah, he worked and he did like night shifts and I remember my parents picking him up and dropping him off in ridiculous hours.
It's funny that we didn't work at the Lavado one, but we went to.
Right? I was like, how convenient would it have been? Like, especially for my parents, they worked ridiculous hours. Yeah. But, so he worked at Rotunda.
Okay.
And he worked there with, like, all of his friends.
Yeah.
And, like, all of his friends had siblings like my age, so they all had, like, a 3-4 year age gap. And so once they kind of moved on, all the siblings came and worked, and it was a bit of a cash in hand situation for the most part.
Yeah.
And you could kind of...
This was after high school, did you say?
Yeah, pretty much finished year 12 and started working there. So it was at the end of 2005. And then... they were like 12-hour long days. Like, you would just go 8 a.m., 7 a.m.
So it was like a breakfast, lunch and dinner thing?
And back when I was working and living in the West Side, especially at Willie Beach, like, it was busy until like 2-3 in the morning, and people were buying ice cream at 2-3 in the morning. So we would just stay open, and if you weren't tired, you could stay and just. And it ended up just being a lot more of the culture side of it. Like, it was just fun. I made a lot of friends, and some that I still keep in contact with to now. So it was just a lot of fun.
How long were you there for?
Like about 4 to 5 years.
So it was fun.
It was fun until it stopped being fun. The same thing happened. Like, so my brother and his friends worked there, and then they moved on, and then we worked there, we moved on, and like the new crew kind of came, and so I guess they kind of took over and we moved on.
So it's just like typical waitress kind of thing.
So I leveled up. I started off like selling ice cream and making milkshakes, and got taught to be a bit of a barista and do the coffees, even like making and serving the hot food, and then all the girls would end up kind of moving up and going up and doing the waitressing. There were a lot of girls that worked there. So all the boys would end up staying down. Unless you were new, then you just kind of get to know the downstairs area, because our boss, JC, he was awesome. He was lovely. But he always just wanted everyone to know everything. So he would start you off doing the little jobs like downstairs, and then he'd move you up and you'd be sorted, and he'd...
So that... I do remember this. Was it on the corner? No.
No. It's like it's literally right on the beach. Like, I don't even know how to explain to you. There's a park next to it. There's...
yeah, I do know where that is. The main beach.
The main beach, the main beach.
Yeah. There's only one...
It's like the only one that's on the beach. And next to it was, I think it was called Sirens. Like, there was a proper uppity restaurant next to us.
Oh, yeah, I do know.
And then this was just like where everyone else would go.
Yeah. And so when did what was next?
After Rotunda, so after Rotunda, I went back and did some studies.
Yeah.
And while I did that, I was working at Rotunda on the weekends still.
Yeah.
And during the week, because it wasn't really busy during the week, so you wouldn't get any shifts and you'd have to just kind of get another job anyway. If you weren't studying Monday to Friday, most people were off at uni. I ended up getting a job like at NAB call centre in the city. I feel like everyone has worked there at some stage or another.
In that area especially.
But I hated it. And I just went through just like some agency, and I worked there.
Why? Dealing with people?
Why I hated it. Yeah. It was just, it was mundane. It was just, you go there like, welcome to the NAB. How can I help you? How can I direct your call? It wasn't anything of substance. It felt like a real job because you get up early and catch the train in and dress nice. And I remember I had an abundance of trench coats. I don't know why. I just felt important going to the city for work early in the morning, but it wasn't good for my soul, I don't think. And to a point where, so I felt like I always had to have a job. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. What were you studying? Sorry.
Childcare.
Yeah. So this is where it begins.
This is kind of where my career path began. But yeah, I just always felt like I had to have a job, particularly because my parents worked really hard, like immigrant family. You know, we never really saw them. At one stage, my dad was working 4 jobs around the clock. And he would come home and have between 4 to 5 hours max of sleep, and he'd get back up and do everything again. And they were always hardworking. They always did everything for my brother and I so we could succeed in life. And kind of just being at home and not having a job didn't sit well with me. And also they'd kind of be like, what are you doing? We've paid for everything. What are you doing? But with that NAB job, I did quit, and I didn't tell my family.
Scared?
A little bit about the job, but more so because they would say, okay, well, what are you going to do?
You didn't have any idea.
And I didn't. And you know, looking back, at that stage, I didn't know then. Like, I think I was suffering from a little bit of mental health problems. I had a lot of people around me, the people that I was closest to, so like my brother, my sister-in-law, I was really good friends with her sister and her partner, and my core little unit, they were all very career-driven, all knew exactly what they wanted in life. And I had no idea. I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do. I wanted to, at one stage, be a flight attendant. I went down that path.
So funny?
No, it's so... I went down that path, and the issue was I don't know how to swim.
Me? I don't know how to swim either.
I don't know how to swim. And they were like, I did everything. And they were just like, okay, well, you have to do you have to do the safety thing, and you have to be able to swim, you know, X amount of meters unassisted. It's like, wait.
Oh, I've almost drowned 3 times.
Okay. I have almost drowned as a child, and twice as a child, and scarred for life. I will not go in water. I can't walk in.
I'm not scarred because I get FOMO. So if I see anyone jump,
so you want to be in there too?
I'll drown for it. Yeah.
I mean, now as a parent, I do want to learn how to swim, because I'm like, what if something happens to one of them? My son can swim and I can't swim. But yeah, so that dream ended really quickly because I couldn't go through with the criteria they had. Well, I mean, you know, how am I going to save the passengers?
Well, don't they have life jackets on the airplane?
That's what I thought. Apparently not for us. No, I mean, that didn't last very long. But at that stage, there was a
scary thought, though.
Yeah,
you have to learn to swim just in case.
Just in case. And I didn't take that opportunity. I mean, I could have done it like 10, 15 years ago, and I didn't take that opportunity. So there was a moment in life, in my late teens, very early 20s, where I feel like I was just like keeping this big secret. I was just like, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life, and I would mope around. And a few times I think I pretended to go to work, to be out of the house. Like I got dressed and
So they still think you're at the call centre?
Yeah. They thought, she's at work today. And I just like went to Southern Cross.
Yeah.
That's what it was called back then.
Still is, I think. Station? Yeah, I think so.
It was called Spencer Street. Spencer Street. And I got off and I'd get a Starbucks coffee because it was exciting, because it was like the only one back then.
We just walk around.
I just walked around. I looked at some shops, and then I'd go home. And
you're supposed to do that at school, WAG school, you know.
And like my mum was like, "Oh, what are you doing home early?" Because obviously I was like, I finished my shift early.
Yeah.
Okay, like she had no idea. And then. Yes, I was studying, and I got my...
well, at least you were still studying.
Yeah, so...
But still scared to tell your parents that
you
had no job.
That did open up some doors, obviously, because you have to do placement, and where I did my last placement, I ended up getting a job. Yeah. So I worked at a childcare centre, just in Werribee, actually. Yeah. And I worked there for a couple of years, and... I worked my way up a little bit, I mean, as much as you can in childcare, where I was also, again, I went back to study, so I was working full-time, and then I was studying in the evenings to get my diploma in children's services, because that just meant that obviously your pay goes up.
Yep.
It means you get a bit more responsibility. You become a room leader.
Yeah.
You get planning time. You to plan things for the babies.
Now, childcare, what's the age, like, baby to what? So
It is like 6 weeks old.
6 weeks old?
We've had a baby. Like the
I thought it was like 1 to 3 or something.
No.
Oh, damn.
As soon as they get their first lot of injections, they can come in.
Oh.
And the saddest story, and I still tell it, like there was a mum. She had her 8-week-old baby, and she worked in corporate. So her work was in corporate, and it was between like giving up her position and all the finances that came with it, and being able to stay home with her baby, or going back and being able to provide. And so she came in, she cried hysterically that morning, handed us this little teeny tiny baby.
Shit.
You know, and I know you've got nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
A baby that little,
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything. Like, it can't hold its neck up. It can't do anything.
Yeah, it can't do anything.
And we were just left with this brand
6
new baby. Yeah. And now as a mum, I mean, I feel for her.
Yeah.
Back then I was quite ignorant. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How, what a silly decision. But
Yeah.
as a mum,
He's like, it happens.
yeah, sometimes you don't have a choice, or you don't have a stable job that will wait for you to come back.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy how 6 weeks old.
Yeah.
That's brand new.
Yeah.
Like the cord's
Yeah, the cord's still there. The cord, yeah, technically hasn't fallen off yet. Yeah. So, yeah, worked in childcare. Did that. I was in the baby's room. Children can be there from, 6 weeks up until kinder age. So 5.
5. Oh.
Yeah.
And that's all in one, what do they call it?
Room. No.
Oh.
No. There's multiple rooms. There's like the baby's room. And then when they start walking, then there's like the little toddler room, and then they move on by age.
Shit.
And ability. But yeah.
Let's go back when you were saying, Cal, your intimate circle was striving, and you were
I mean, I would look at them, and they all had a goal, and they were all either studying or just about to finish and graduating, and they are a little bit older than me. But the thing that stood out to me the most was that they knew what they wanted to do. Yeah, it wasn't that they were just trying to figure out. Whereas I felt like I was only 2-3 years off of them, and I didn't have an idea as to where I wanted to be in 2 to 3 years' time. So I was really struggling mentally with that. Yeah. And also from a South Asian background, there was a different type of pressure. My parents have always been a bit different and accepting and supportive of everything I've done. But still, there's that pressure. My brother was the golden egg, and I just was not. So with constantly always being around them, they took me under their wing. They'll take me out with them, but even just kind of mingling with some of their friends, the snide little comments that would be like, "Oh, you do childcare? What do you do? Like play with kids all day? Yeah. Oh, you babysit like."
Really?
Yeah, it was really condescending and belittling.
I would have thought, that's sick. You look after people's kids.
Nah, they'd be like, so do you need a degree for that? Okay. Yeah, they were a bit rude about it.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, no, I kind of picked myself up, got through the studies, did all of that, and when I was working in childcare and doing my diploma on the side. When that diploma ended, that was another thing, because it was like, well, now what? Now what do I do? I'm still at the same place. Yeah. And I had made 2 really good friends through the course, and the 3 of us were kind of just like, okay, well, both of them were also working in childcare centres and doing the same studies as me, and the 3 of us were like, now what? Yeah. And the thing that kind of stood out to me the most was that I always wanted to do just a bit more, a little bit more. You
think that's because of the comments? You thought, maybe childcare wasn't
the end. Yeah. You know what? Maybe that was a little bit of a motivation to to be like, I'm going to show these.
Yeah.
I'm going to show them. But it also for me, childcare, I kid you not, looking back at all the jobs I've had, childcare was the hardest job. Physically, emotionally, mentally, the hardest and the most underpaid.
I get maybe an hour, 2 hours with my nieces and nephew, and I'm like, no,
you're done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, it's
take them home.
It's a lot, and I also think it's one of the most undervalued professions. Sadly, it's also one of it's such a transit type of a job because people want to come in and out, and it's a lot of casual workers in there. So I think that doesn't help the way people view it as well, because it's like, oh, people just kind of come in and out. They don't take it seriously. But I would never do it again because I don't think that I would be able to survive. I would never be able to do it. Even if they were like, oh, we'll pay you more to go back and do childcare, physically, emotionally, mentally, would not be able to handle it. I think they are very underrated. I couldn't imagine. And you're literally looking after raising other people's kids. And Victoria has the shittest ratios in all of Australia. All of Australia. I mean, when I worked there, I was in my early 20s, and the ratios were 1 carer to 5 under 5.
Shit.
1 to 5. Like, let that sink in.
Under 5.
So they could be a variety of different ages. They could be 6 weeks, or they could be 1 year, or they could be crawling and be 9 months. But you could have 5 of them at any given time by yourself.
So you can have 6 weeks, a 3-year-old, 2 at the same time. Is that
that's the ratio. It's changed now to 1 to 4. So 1 carer to 4. But in Brisbane, I'm pretty sure it's like 1 to 3.
That's crazy.
It's the ratios are ridiculous. So you'd have one, staff member in a room, and I'm just thinking about what my son did full-time daycare, and when I'd go drop him off, there'd be 4 already, he'd be the 5th one, and they would be like, oh, there's so-and-so is in another room. We're technically covered for ratios because they'd be short-staffed. Oh. And I'd be looking at her like, the worker, and being like, you poor thing. I'll just hang around a little bit. It's fine. I'll hang around till someone comes in, because it's too much. Yeah. And then it skyrockets to like 1 to 11.
Just say you had 1 to 6, they're not allowed to at all?
No, becomes like a OHS. It's
okay.
Not, the 1 to 4 is mandated now.
Yeah. That's good. I thought it was like just like a.
Like if you can,
if you can
do that.
5.
No, it's 1 to 4 now, and that's changed. And Victoria was rejoicing, but it's still not.
It's definitely not enough.
No, because then when you get to like,
it's like handing 5 adults is enough, but 5 babies is crazy.
Yeah, there's a variety of needs and different abilities.
One's still barely opening its eyes.
Yeah, one's still thinking it's in the womb, and the others are just like,
Lego.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But a very underrated profession. That is.
Yeah. No way I could have done that. No way. A lot of males. Do males do?
No. I mean, and I wish they did. And it's so funny because everyone's always like, there should be more males in the profession.
They'll be too laid back. Like,
Yeah. No, but then when you do have like your, a lot of males come through particularly for placement, because a lot of the...
Yo. 2 seconds.
Kesh!
I'm recording.
Oh, shit.
All right. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hello.
Wow, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, I'm good.
If you hear that, it's my brother from another mother, Mickey.
Yo. check to the mic 1 2.
If you ever hear me talking, saying Mickey or... it's a party. We're recording. All right. I'll see you down there.
Yo.
Oh, my God. Thanks, mate. No, I'm all right. Thank you.
No, I'm good, thank you.
I bought you a purple one. Just in case. All right, see you down there.
All right, sweet. That was my best mate, Mickey. It's my brother. So if you hear me say his name, that's him. I've mentioned him a couple of times, but
and I'll just remind you that I've known him longer than you.
Technically, yeah. Okay. Same primary school. Oh yeah.
Yes.
11. It's
Yes.
not there no more. How sad.
Yeah, they took that. It was all down.
My
and
murals are
it's
gone.
sad.
I painted all those. Yeah, me. That was me that drew all that stuff. The bird, the bees, the flowers. On one of the rooms at the back.
Okay, wait.
Near the soccer ball.
As in, because you went there?
They chose me to do it because I knew how to draw. Draw.
Wait, no, because you went there? Like, you went to Laverton?
No, drawing when I was there in grade 4. They're like, hey, man, you can draw. So do this.
No, again, I'm not articulating myself well. Did you attend as a student?
Laverton Primary School?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, we went to the same school?
Yes. Oh, my God.
No.
You're a couple of years younger than me, yeah.
Okay.
That's how I know Michael.
I thought-
I was little Rob's big brother thing.
Oh, his buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, I had no idea. I thought I met you. I thought I met you when I was like in year 8 or 9 with him, like
Yeah.
with Michael.
Well, that's when we all started hanging out.
Right.
But we all knew each other from primary school.
And did you go to Altona or Bayside?
I don't mention this school, so I don't like this school.
Oh.
I went to the all-boys school. I went to your brother's school.
You went to
Yeah.
You went to my brother's school.
Wait, did your brother go to St. Paul's?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, shit. And we worked together.
Oh, right. Okay, wait.
Your
I
brother's
thought
a year older than me, I think, or 2 years older than me.
yeah,
I
you're
think.
hitting that geriatric age.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wow, I've just discovered so much.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was
But yeah, I painted all that stuff.
right.
That was me.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's all gone now,
It's
isn't
all
it?
gone. It's like a basketball court. A community centre, I think?
I don't know what's there.
I think it's a community centre. Well, there's a basketball court there.
I just know when I did placement, I went back to Laverton, as in now that it's merged. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's P.4 now.
Oh.
Yeah, Laverton Secondary and
college.
the primary
So
school
nice
merged.
now.
And I was like, oh my gosh, but all the teachers were still there, like a couple of the teachers that I had
Yeah.
in primary school were still there, and one of them became my mentor
Oh, really?
for one of my final placements. Yeah, it was amazing. It was a lovely
Yeah,
experience.
It's nicer now. Mm-hmm. A lot nicer.
It's a lot nicer than what it was. They like just left that they left that old building as is. I mean, for the last time I went there, and they just moved on to the Oval. But yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, so I went to St. Paul's. Hated it.
Why?
One is all boys school. Dude, I hated it.
Hey, did you do choir?
No. Why you think I did choir?
I don't know. My brother did choir, and he couldn't sing. So he
Oh, really?
yeah. Did you do any of the plays they make you do?
No, Little Shop of Horrors. I was a hand puppet.
So wait, you weren't even
No,
like
I
your
wasn't on
face
stage.
wasn't
No,
on the-
hell no. Couldn't act. But now looking back, oh, fuck, I should have tried it. But anyway, all
all
boys
these
schools.
opportunities that you get at a upper tier
Yeah, like from year 10,
private school.
from year 10 onwards, I did what you do at work. I didn't show up. I didn't tell my parents, put my uniform on, come home early. It's like, when are you home early? We finished early. Because at 11, 12, you had like short classes, remember?
Yeah, and they have
So it's
no
easy.
idea what's going on.
No idea until they kept me till year 12. They're like, oh, you got to go. Oh, fine. And I was like, oh, what do I do? But yeah.
I don't like talking about, I mean, ATAR, formerly known as Enter Scores, but like, were you just like did not?
Oh, it's not like I rocked up for art and graphics. That's it, and I just would walk out. I might place a little basketball at lunch, but I would just walk.
What
out.
did they do? Like in terms of discipline, like what was the disciplinary?
You would
action?
get a detention for wearing the wrong socks. Mm-hmm. Right, and just some of the teachers didn't. I think now looking back at it, I understand how it worked, but just how
it's stupid.
It's stupid how they teach people. Like art and graphics teachers loved it because they're very laid back.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
most art and graphics teachers are. But they talk to you normally.
They treat you like a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You wanted to go to class.
Yeah.
If all classes like that, I would have probably aced it.
yeah.
But then you get to that maths teacher's like, oh, single file, separate
and
your
for
table.
what? Like, what are you teaching the students? Like, school and like it's a. I mean, my opinion on it, and I do say this to my students, regardless of whether they're in like year 12 or year 10 or year 7s. School isn't for everyone.
No, it's not.
It's not.
And I learned this too because the job I'm currently working now, I train people.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone learns differently, and you can use you can use a template, but you got to adjust too.
And there are some people in the profession who
straight away too, like, oh, that kid can't do this kid
Yeah.
can't do that. Like, you got to know straight away, otherwise you're lost. Like,
you lost them.
How many kids do you in a classroom? Like 25?
Yeah, about 25, 26.
And that's the max.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the cutoff is like 26.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad to see what you're describing because it still happens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where there are teachers that are just so set in their ways and aren't open to.
It's their job. They're 9 to 5. They got to get up, put a face on.
But it's a job that they've chosen, though.
That is also true.
They've chosen to do it, and there are other options. I mean,
I feel like a maths teacher is like, oh, I'm good at maths, I want to teach maths, but their way of teaching is probably not.
Yeah, and I feel like with the generation that's coming up now, I also say this to my students all the time that if they had the opportunity, if we had the opportunities that they have at the moment, in terms of all the different pathways that are available, we would be different people now. Yeah. I feel like the system broke us a little bit, and there were the ones that are always just going to get through and be fine, and then there are some that are still back there and haven't made it and are struggling with life in general, and then there were like us in the middle, and we've made it up slowly, and we've had to figure things out ourselves. And,
a lot of it.
Yeah, when there was I did not enjoy high school. I did not enjoy it one bit.
I didn't enjoy it one bit either.
I
thought I did for many years. I thought about it really. I was like, man, I didn't like that.
Did you enjoy the social aspect of it with your friends?
At the time, yes.
Yeah.
Now looking back, no.
Okay.
I thought I was just trying to find myself, yeah?
Yeah.
And like how I got involved and stuff, it's like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Yeah. I wish I would hang around with those kids.
Yeah.
Would have been better, but...
And, I mean, and that hindsight is a great thing where...
Yeah, because I learned a lot. It made it to the person I am now.
It is. And, there are a lot of choices, like things that I did and choices that I made that obviously had I...
I don't regret anything. I used to, but I was like, nah, what for?
Because you're who you are now because of those choices and those experiences. Correct. Yeah. I think that aside from just like obviously a career, a financial security, make my Curry parents proud, that kind of they're all there still.
Yeah.
But there was a part of it where I wanted to get into the profession because I wanted to undo what some of the teachers did to me.
Oh.
And
it's a good one.
Maybe, for the lack of better words, like be the teacher that I needed.
Yeah.
And to a degree, based on the student feedback that I've received, I do feel like I have achieved some of that. And that's directly from some of the students that I've worked with, and you know, they'll write me a card or they'll come and tell me, or you know, they'll find me on social media and they'll message me from, you know, previous schools that I've worked at, like, Miss, thank you so much, like you treated me like a human, or you understood me and the way that I learned, or that you were just kind to us. And you know, I went back to my old high school, which is now merged with the primary school, and I got to do one of my placements with my grade 6 teacher. Shout out to Miss Posavina.
Oh,
she was amazing.
Posavina family.
Yeah, and I know her son now works there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when I was there, Simon. Yeah. When I went there, he was doing PE. Yeah. Coming and stealing food from his mum. It was a bit cute. But she mentored me in one of my placements. You know, and it was a bit of a full circle. But there was also a teacher there who was from the high school sector, and I won't name her.
Yeah.
However, I went to the staff meeting, like the staff morning briefing. This was like my first week there, second or third day, excited, like beaming.
Yeah.
I'm at my old school, like I've got some of my old teachers are here, and even some. There's a couple of people that I went to school with that were now teaching there as well. So it was lovely.
Yeah.
Another trip was there's a few students in my class whose parents I went to school with. And I remember looking at this kid like, I know you. Why do I know you? Then I saw Dad on pickup. I was like, hey, we went to school together. But I was excited to be there. And I sat down, and this particular teacher came and sat down next to me, and she's like, oh, Keshni? And I was like, hi, Miss So-and-so.
Yeah.
And I think whenever you leave, regardless of how old you always refer to your teachers as Mr. or Miss whatever. And she scoffed at me, and I had all my little folders. I was excited. And she's like, what are you doing here?
Oh, damn.
I was like, I'm doing placement. I'm on my second last placement before I graduate. And she scoffed, and she picked up her things, and she got up, and she was like, they'll let anyone be teachers these days.
Wow.
And she fucked off. And she's that teacher,
Yeah.
that
You don't want
the one that
that class.
yeah, and the kids don't want to be there.
Yeah.
She has all the fights with all the students. You wonder why. You wonder why you butt heads with everyone in your class. It's,
Can you you wouldn't do that on placement, would you? Act like that. Do you get reviews?
yeah, as in a third party mediator will come and my mentor will be there.
What's that dude on Simpsons? Not Skinner. What's the other dude?
Oh my god, principal. No.
This is what I need. I need a guy to Google for me.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Superintendent Charles? No, Chalmers.
Yeah.
Superintendent Chalmers. Yes.
So is that real? That's real.
No.
Oh.
I don't think so. Not in Australia.
Oh. So, but that's similar to what you're talking about. There's someone that looks over and reviews you.
Yeah, but that's from my uni. So an auditor from my uni will come to make sure that, one, I'm turning up.
Yeah.
So that if there are any issues, my mentor can be like, well, Keshni hasn't turned up for the whole week. Or if my mentor is feeling a little bit uncomfortable giving me feedback, we can discuss it here.
Talking about primary school, I remember one teacher. I won't say her name. No, I don't. I wouldn't, because she did something real bad.
Oh, okay.
She she used to snap rulers on people's. She used to snap rulers on people's arms for sure. I remember that vividly, and
that's illegal.
Yeah,
we can't do that.
You can't do that. You definitely can't do that.
You want to sometimes. You're not allowed to. And that's not.
I remember I was in grade 4, and you know how you used to line up, and I remember one kid, probably naughty kid, but he was out of line. He's doing these, dancing around.
That kid.
And she choked him.
What do you mean? I don't.
Like Homer does Bart, choke. You're get in line.
Get in line.
It happened right in front of me. Oh, damn. Everyone knew she was a bad teacher.
Yeah.
She was a very angry teacher. And she disappeared for 6 months. And she came back with a new attitude.
So I was under stress and I was stressed out, and now I'm going to go away.
I remember now, I think about it. She would come back and the fake smiles. But yeah, she choked the kid.
What happened? You were too young. I would love to know what happened.
I thought that was pretty normal.
No.
It's not now.
You're not even allowed to touch them.
No.
There was this thing that happened in high school with Marley.
Yeah.
And a teacher got really up in his face.
Yeah.
And Marley, and firstly I was his friend then, and now as a teacher, so I'm in the profession. Marley was going off, he was pushing, hitting all the buttons, but the teacher lost his shit. Was up in his face, pushed him up against the fencing of the basketball court, and Marley was just like, he's got his hands on me. I knew, Marley the way he was. He's touching me, just screaming, and I remember that shook me. I was like, you're not allowed to touch me.
I was too young, but But I do remember because it happened in front of me that she choked him, and then she disappeared.
Yeah.
And then she was my 5th grade teacher. It's like, oh damn!
You're like,
but she
oh,
was
shit.
nice as. She changed. I'll tell her her name after, so we'll tell you
yeah.
stuff. You'll know her, I think. But she was angry as.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary. And it's scary, I mean, if you think that was the one that you saw, that was the issue that you saw in plain sight. Imagine the other small little things that would have happened that nobody took notice of, or the kids
I think
just
our
thought-
generation was like the crossover of teachers being their kids, being kids, and then...
You know... Also, it's your generation. I'm below you. No, I feel like there's so much stigma with like the generation just below us giving us shit. It's like, oh, we're too much about like, how do you feel? And all. It's because nobody gave a shit about how we felt. So like in my class,
I couldn't tell anyone about... I didn't go tell mum, hey, mum, the teacher...
No, and you know what? Back then, the mum would have said, what did you do? what did you do to make that happen?
Yeah.
You know, it must have been your fault. Now we've got parents who are just like totally on the student side.
Yeah.
And again, to a degree, I get it. Being a mum, I'm always like, okay, well, tell me the situation. Though my son's a good student.
That you know of.
Yeah. No, he's great. I mean, he got sent to the principal's office once because he was throwing dirt over the fence.
Oh.
He's like, I threw dirt over the fence. It's like, okay, like that's great.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh, that's my wife.
But yeah, no, it's all changed now. So like the parents are favouring the students way too much. Where the teachers don't even have
Give me 1 second.
Fans, yeah. What?
I just feel like...
Is that a colour issue? Is that?
So I just turned the light on. Hang on.
Well, it wasn't bright enough. Your lens wasn't picking me up.
No, it got dimmer, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's not on. So anyway.
Yeah.
Your kid throwing sand.
Yeah, no, my kid's a good kid.
Okay.
No, I was just saying, yeah, now it's like the teachers have so much more of a fight, and it's not even worth calling home sometimes.
Yeah.
Even if it is an issue that you need to call home for, it's just like the parents just going to do my head in.
Yeah, one thing I didn't like about school was detention. I never got it. I got it all the time, but I didn't get why.
What was the purpose?
Yeah, I get it. I was like in trouble for things.
But what is the purpose of this detention?
Yeah, like why are you holding me back? Like,
yeah, there's so much.
Do they still give out detention?
There's detention.
Oh shit! I
There's
thought they would have got rid of that.
There's like teacher managed consequences in the classroom, so it's like I can keep you back for like a lunchtime or a chat or whatever it is, or but then there's an after school, and then there's a principal's detention, then there's internal suspensions, and
I spent in high school, I would say year 9, all of year 9, homeroom, science, and 2 other classes in the late pass room. So where you go to sign your name when you come late, I did all my classes in there because we were...
is that where you were in trouble?
Yeah, because we got in trouble for like being distractive or whatever.
If we're distracted, it's distracting others in the classroom.
Yeah.
Were you chatting too much?
Chatting from just doing silly stuff. Yeah, the whole year 9 we spent in there. There was like a gang of us.
Year 9, though, in all high schools, is the most diabolical.
Really?
Because year level. You're cusp of at the kind of mid to end of year 8.
Yeah.
And year 9.
Yeah.
Feral. Hormones kicking.
Yeah.
They get a bit
now
more
you can
confident.
imagine, right? All boys school. The worst. I've seen some just stupid shit. Like you can imagine your husband go hang out with the boys. They probably
just do silly stuff.
Just do silly stuff.
Yeah.
Now imagine 500.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Some of the things I saw, oh my god, just stupid. Like a child wouldn't even do that stuff. Like,
Do you think that a lot of it in that, especially that age group, would be like, just look at me, give me some attention?
Yeah, that probably adds to it. And then just boys being boys. Like, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no,
a real thing.
I have come to realize that's a thing.
It's a thing. But yeah, it's just weird. Now looking at it, it's like, fuck, that was weird.
But yeah, that age group in general. Feral. Just, I guess their hormones are kicking in.
Is that girls and boys? Or just
No, both. It's not exclusive to a gender. It's everyone. It's they're kind of quiet and shy in year 7 and kind of find their feet in this big, place, in this new environment. Year 8, they get a bit more confident, and year 9, they think they are the shit. Like, they forget that there's like year 10s, 11s, and 12s above them.
Now you mentioned it, yeah.
They forget.
We did.
Yeah. I do think, though, at the moment, there's all these students coming through that have had the last 2 to 3 years at home because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so there's like some other stuff going on with them. Like, they're just so immature for their age.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's always a certain level of
like, their
immaturity.
social skills a bit off.
Social skills, way off.
Wow. I didn't really think about that, eh?
Yeah.
Especially, so imagine skipping year 8 and 9 at home. Fuck.
Or
then going straight to year 10?
Grade 5 and 6, and then going straight to year 7.
Shit.
Yeah, some of the things that you'd go through in school would build a little bit of resilience, and you get to practice your social skills and practice communicating and just talking. All gone. Like, the year 7s have come in, and it's just like, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That would have been this trip, from grade 5 straight to year 7. Yeesh.
Yeah.
At least they had Facebook. And Instagram.
They're not meant to have Facebook.
Oh.
There's an age limit on that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The issue, well, yeah.
Now, but before it wasn't.
I guess there was.
Oh, really?
Always. It's always 13 has been the cutoff.
Oh, I didn't know.
I know they just make it anyway.
Because I was really old when on Facebook.
Yes. So you've been like, like squinting, looking at your little, what am I doing here?
Like 22 now. Actually, wait. What year was Facebook?
Facebook, I think, peaked like 2008-ish. It did come out. I do remember having it in like 2006 or 7, or like at least it being around.
Man, I was a full-grown adult.
Yeah. Like celebrated your 25th. Like, it was there.
Look, it's Facebook.
I don't think kids are that into that. They're heavily into, obviously, Instagram and then like Snapchat.
Minecraft.
My son.
What is it with Minecraft?
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. It's you're building blocks. That's it. But
like, just you work in cubes.
The graphics aren't even that good.
It's not. But in primary school, they have proper classes, and it's allowed. Like, you can play it because of what it teaches them.
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
Dig until you find something.
I watched my son play it, and I watched him watch a YouTube video of some creator
that's playing Minecraft.
Yes,
they love it. Kids love it,
and I didn't understand.
Over and over and over.
My son had like a conniption. He couldn't build a roof.
What's a conniption? Stop using these big ass words.
He had a meltdown. He lost it.
A conniption is a meltdown.
Yeah, he couldn't build like a roof.
Okay.
And he could just build like this.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't, and he just lost it. He was like, I can't. So all his houses were just like open, like tubes. I don't know how to describe it, like blocks. And I was like, where's your ceiling? He's like, I couldn't do it. I'm like, what happens when it rains? He goes, I just get wet. It's fine. It's fine. He couldn't do it. But you know.
How trippy that is, a video game playing is a thing. Like, you can study it for it, can't you? Yeah, it's like a job. Social media is a job. Like, content creator is a job.
I would love to be a content creator.
I'm trying.
I remember at the peak of COVID, I made like one TikTok. I was like to my husband, I just want to be, I just don't want to have to have a 9 to 5. Just get me some views. And he's like, if you can make money off it, you can quit your job. I was like, okay. I didn't. I didn't. But no, I think it's great.
Yeah.
but also,
like you said, I think the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
More, like you can do anything.
you can.
It's literally, we had Big W.
Yeah, and
Oh.
we were literally told you finish, you have to get a good ATAR or enter score,
Yeah.
have to get a good enter score,
Yes.
have to go to uni, and if you went to TAFE, you were like, oh, you go to TAFE?
Yeah, what was that? What?
Yeah, and see, that's what we grew up on.
I wish someone told me that I can quit school at year 10 and be
I
a
tell my
trade.
students that. I mean,
Do it like
yeah, I do. I tell my students that.
Yeah.
The ones that have
like it's
the
done.
skill levels there already,
or they just
and the mindset is there,
Yeah.
and if they've got their parents' support and they know what they're doing, there are a couple of students that are in my classes right now, and you know what, Pikachu
yes, Pikachu.
Has been kind of in and out of like, oh, miss, I don't know if I'm going to stay, if I'm going to go, for 2 years now.
Yeah,
Pikachu, you know what you're doing. You're very talented. You've got this job. It's like he's got a job.
Yeah.
And if, in order to do so, VCAL is no more.
yeah,
It's kind of merged.
yeah.
So they still can pathway out. There's still all these other options of doing a trade and whatnot. It's just not called VCAL because they just didn't want the segregation.
Yeah.
And, all of that.
Mickey was in VCAL.
But it's now just called vocational major, and that's like they're kind of working alongside your standard, the normal VCE students. And Pikachu in particular, very talented, very ready for the world. He is able to hold a conversation with an adult. He's the quality of his work is decent, and he'll be really successful. And he doesn't understand that. I think he's finding it hard. He's in a bit of a limbo, like, oh, but it's scary out there.
Yeah.
To become an adult, it's scary. And
Yeah.
when you leave school and you have to work for your own, income, it's a scary thing,
Yeah,
and no one ever tells you about it.
No.
But he definitely is ready. But he's still in school. He's still there and doing another
Mates.
year. A little bit to do with his mates, a little bit to do with like he's just unsure of
Yeah.
the big wide world, not unsure of what he wants to do.
16, I'm assuming.
17.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you're going into year 12, and he'll be really successful. He'll earn more than me. They don't realize.
Did you tell him that?
Yeah, and I don't think some of the students that have studied VCAL or that are scared of uni and a little bit like put off by TAFE because of the stigma around
Yeah.
it, I think they, in their head, oh, it's not a real job. You are going to earn more than me.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to dictate your own timetable. Sometimes, like, depends on what career you're going
Yeah.
into. Yeah, some of the work is like quite laborious, but you will earn a lot more. You will be successful, and you'll always have a job. It's high demand. So
Yeah.
all your, carpentry and building and bricklaying and all of that type of stuff, as well as hairdressing
Yeah.
and the beautician and
It's endless.
it's endless. And you don't have to go to university
Yeah, you can get
to
paid
be
right
successful.
now.
Yeah, and I think that was a huge thing in our genre, like in our generation,
Yeah.
and when we grew up, and it was just like,
Like how you said our
Yeah,
generation.
did you see how I stopped to like, I'll be nice. Well, yeah, it was a very big go to uni, or you're not going to be
Yeah, it
successful
was.
in life.
I wish someone told me that. Like, yeah, you can get a trade now. You can work if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the schools are much better equipped these days, and
Oh, yeah,
you
they
get
are.
that advice.
Like,
Yeah.
we didn't have sports schools or sport
Yeah,
dedicated schools.
yeah, we have a sports academy at the school that I work at.
Yeah.
Um,
The one in Marymount? No.
brother, I am.
No, not that one.
No. So I work in southeast Melbourne,
Yeah.
all the way down past.
Yeah, you left
know.
us.
Yeah. Actually, when I was coming back here, I haven't driven back to the west side in a long time.
Yeah.
I was very excited until I got off the bridge and they split the roads,
Oh.
and I panicked and I called my husband. I was like, "Where am I going?" I was like,
We have to deal with that every day.
my familiar grounds, like
Shit.
over the bridge and you're home. And now I panicked. I was like, where, what is happening? It is booming down here. It's
So many people.
great, yeah. It's getting the facelift that it's needed down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, leaving year 10.
Yes.
Good idea.
Yeah. I think
For
it's...
some students.
Look,
definitely
school
good
is an
idea.
institution that was created initially because people had to work. Where are your kids going to go? And you know, you'd mentioned some of your experiences with teachers, and I see it still. Like, there are still staff members that are like that, who are set in their ways, whether they're scared to change or they just don't know how. And it's not necessarily their fault. They've just been in the industry for a very long time, and it's quite outdated. There are a lot of younger teachers coming through that have a similar, I guess, mindset that I do, where the students that are walking into my classroom, I am not standing there going, walk in and respect me, and walk in a single file, hey, come in, sit down. Like, I'm going to give you the respect that you deserve, and in return, I want the same thing. That's right. And there's going to be this mutual respect giving.
That's why I was playing up these teachers,
because the teachers were mean, and you know, the feedback that I've had from some students that I've taught who have a lot of issues with a lot of other teachers, has just been that, you just talk to us like we're normal. You don't yell, you don't just shout. I was like, well, what's the point of shouting? I don't want my son to go to school and be yelled at for, like, being a kid. Yeah. You're kids at the end of the day, and teenagers are a little bit different to the primary school ones.
Have you done parent-teacher interviews?
Yeah, I have.
Have you? How are the parents?
They're fine.
Yeah,
they're fine. Good? Yeah. I remember my parents, and I used to be petrified.
I never told my parents about parent.
My parents went to like 2 of the high school ones, but then they were always working and they just couldn't make it, which I was like, yes, thank you. I was happy about that, but I was petrified every time that it was a parent-teacher interview. So back in the day, it was, okay, little Vinny, come and sit down. This is, you know.
I was always tall.
Mum, now this is, you know, what he can do, this is what he can't do. And let's talk about all the things he's done wrong. Yeah. And you're not even a part of it. You're there just sitting and being berated, and it's not a nice feeling. Yeah. Now, we don't even call it parent-teacher interviews anymore. It's
consult.
No. So some schools call it like a roundtable conference.
Ooh.
And it's a student-led conference. It's led by you. So you think about some of your achievements.
Oh, it's led by the student. Oh, that's cool.
And then we come and sit together, and whether I'm a classroom teacher for English, or if I'm your home group teacher, we'll sit down and, so Vinny, let's have a chat. Like, what did you want to share with us today? What's something you've been really proud of?
If I get a lot of that. Nothing.
And then, you know, like, I could say, Vinny's been a little late a few times, and we need to just work on that, because every minute of learning counts. But how can we help you with that? Like, is there something that's not just like
pointing stuff out?
It's like, can the school help in some way?
I can't remember my last one. Let me see. I always got. He's very capable of doing so.
Oh, he's very capable.
Yeah, very capable. We know he can do it, but he just chooses not to go. That, I'm capable.
Yeah. And your parents are like...
That's how I passed year 10, 11. I wasn't there. I still passed. It's like, he's capable of doing it.
Isn't that a little bit concerning that you weren't there and you still passed?
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, what was the teacher doing? Like, what?
I don't know.
Just passing you for the sake of passing?
Yeah, passing you because mum was paying fees. That's probably why.
Yeah. And also, it's a lot more work for the staff member.
Yeah, maybe.
It's very difficult to keep a student
so many
out.
times I handed someone else's work, goes, well done, videos. Like, what? Didn't do it. So many times.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because that just makes me sad, because those are some of the experiences that students and parents, when you become a dad one day as well, like, that's what you're going to reflect on. Yeah. And it's sad to think that some teachers do that.
Yeah. What? Even the year level coordinator, is that what they called? Like, he's got to say too, like,
just whatever.
Yeah. I get marked home, like marked here.
And you're not there.
I'm not there. But they know that he'll rock up sooner or later.
Yeah, it's less paperwork.
Is it?
Let's
So
pay
you have to report everything. Is that what it is?
We don't. I mean, I don't do that. I don't mark you present if you're not. However, it's a lot of follow up.
Okay.
It's an instant message home, text message home.
So
Now.
that too. So that late homeroom guy that sat there, he used to call my dad. My dad, not very good English. And he's like, Vinny's at school. He's like, yeah. Okay. And he hang up.
Okay, bye.
I come home and it's like, school calls. Oh, yeah, what they say? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then my dad did night shift. I did morning, so they never saw each other, so they never...
Yeah. We have a huge community of EAL students that are kind of falling through the cracks with some things, like in particularly like... So if we have... the way I try to describe it, especially when I talk to my partner about it, is it's kind of like Facebook, but it's for schools. So it's called Compass.
Okay.
And it's got all the roles there. We can put up little posts about each student. You have your own profile, and you can get like a green post if you've done something amazing. And I'll, go, Vinny did an amazing job at his presentation today. Well done. You can see that. Your parents can see that. If it's a red post because it's something horrible has happened, Vinny swore at me. You won't see it because it's a negative thing.
Yeah.
But leadership and all the staff members can see that. But if there's a detention attached to it, it's supposed to send an email home. Now, there's a lot of families with EAL backgrounds who don't have access or aren't connected or whose children end up doing most of the communicating, so they don't sort that stuff out for them knowingly. And then the kids don't have to come to those detentions because the parents don't know about it. And it's just
so you have to get permission from the parents to give them detention?
They have to be notified.
Oh, damn.
And we have had a lot of parents call.
Way better than how I had it. Well, what does it mean?
They're expected to attend.
Yeah, but they're definitely notified.
They're notified, and the parents, at the end of the day, if they call and say, no, then they can't come because... the last reason for, Jigglypuff was that Jigglypuff has to catch a bus. And Jigglypuff comes to my class. The detention wasn't from me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yo, why can't you go to this? I knew it was like bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, why can't you go to the detention? And he's, laughing. And he's like, oh, my mum called and said I don't have to go. And I was like, but why? I'm like nosy. I want to know. And he's just like, oh, miss, I got to catch the bus. I'm like, okay, but you can't catch the next one? Or, we can't sort something else out? And he's just like, no, because then I'll miss my basketball training. And I play rep and I can't miss that. And mum, wants me to go and play. I was like, so your mum would rather you not, serve a punishment for whatever you've done. It was actually pretty bad what he did, whatever that issue was with that teacher. So you can go play basketball. And he's like, mum doesn't care. She doesn't care. She doesn't think detention is going to solve the problem. But, parents always have
How do you feel
power.
about detention? Just say your son's in high school.
Yep.
And he threw sand.
Now he's throwing sand over the fence.
He's throwing sand at cars or whatever it may be, and he got a detention. And he's just like, I was just bored and... I was just doing it because everyone else is doing it, kind of thing.
The same reason he did it. He's like, my friends are doing it. Look.
Is that worth his time?
Lunchtime, 100%.
Okay.
Lunchtime because he's being penalised and he's not getting to enjoy his free time with his friends.
Fair.
After school,
I feel that's
it's more penalising the parent. It's like now it's my job to go and pick him up later. I got to sort out work or whatever it is.
It's no longer school's time. It's
because it'll be impacting me at the end of the day.
I've had Saturday detention before.
All for it.
Are you really?
Fuck yeah! Oh, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, in high school come in with your uniform. You know how bad, embarrassing that is to catch school bus on Saturday?
that would serve a purpose. You're embarrassing them. You
but now
teaching
I'm
them
scarred.
a lesson. Oh, now you're scarred. Every Saturday you wake up traumatized. No, if my son did something so horrible and they were
It wasn't bad either. It was like, can't remember what it was, man. It was, the detention was so stupid.
Yeah,
in private schools, just you got the wrong bag on. So
yeah, I get the uniform ones get me a little bit.
Your hair's too short. So is yours. Fuck.
We have a lot that we're chasing up piercings.
Really?
You can only have one stud on either side.
I just don't get how you're going to stop someone's education because it's 2 earrings or 3 earrings.
You got to pick and choose your battles. If you have a nose piercing, which I think they've only recently, it's a stud.
Yeah.
So if you come with a hoop, I mean, I saw just.
I think that's just based on the workforce going out to work because that's the same deal, no? Is it preparing yourself for?
I disagree.
Or is it just an image of the school that they want?
Yeah,
more?
I think so. I think so, and I think it's just like setting a standard, and this is across the board. Like, as in, it's not just one school. It's, every school has silly.
Yeah, no.
And like natural hair color.
Yeah,
it has to.
Yeah,
you can't rock up with. You can't express yourself with your hair color.
That's the thing. So if you do rock up, just say blonde, they send you home. You'll get a phone call home. Yeah. And how about mum's like, it's a hair color.
Yeah.
But it's like, you enrolled to school.
Yeah. There's been a lot of those issues, and I just, to be honest, I don't understand it because it's like, well, what are you going to do? Get them to dye it back? Like, financially, the point, like, what is the point of doing that?
That's what I mean. Like, is it worth stopping someone's education for that day or 3 hours, whatever it may be, for just coloured hair? Yeah.
Or, with the girls at the moment, it's about how long their acrylics are.
And lashes?
They don't really say much about the lashes. It's the acrylics because of the length, piercings, and...
Skirt length. Dress length, sorry.
Yeah, I think that...
That's been that for ages.
That is very concerning with... I mean, even I look at... And I'm pretty laid back as a staff member. I'm pretty... I will look the other way for some things. Yeah. And I'll pick and choose my battles because... Like, my energy, it's not worth it. Like, why would I now put this student in a horrible mood, fighting me? Yeah. I can't do my job. They're not going to do anything in the class, but just, like, be a little shit. Yeah. I'll have a quiet word to them once everything is done, but there's no point having this big argument. But, the length of skirts and shorts these days, like, I was like, what is happening in the school? Like... How are they, like, just turning up with the teeniest little things on? I remember I got yelled at.
Do you have uniform?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've uniform, proper uniform.
Shirt, tie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just trying to think. No, we are a public school, but we have a private partnership.
Okay.
So it seems a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
But it's still a public school. So if you're in the zone and you're in the area, you can come in. You don't have to, like, it's not special to apply. We've got proper uniform. They have PE uniform for PE days. If you rock up on a day that you don't have PE in PE uniform or runners, without a note, you get, like, certain number of warnings and certain number of notes, and then after, X amount, you get a detention. And I don't know, you'd be out of the loop because you'd not have much to do with schools at the moment.
No.
So in 2019, the government, the department put in a rule about mobile phone usage.
Okay, yeah.
So prior to 2020, so it got implemented kind of term 4, 2019 to kind of ease students and schools into it. So term 1, 2, and 3, 2019, you'd be teaching... and students will be making Snapchats. Really? And you'd be like, come on, put the phone away. Okay, miss, okay, we'll put it away. Or they'll be like recording themselves. Or they'll just get their phone out. I can see my friend in the other class because it's all glass. Let me just send him a quick text. And they could do that and we couldn't do anything about it. And
I
then,
think we had a phone policy back in there.
No,
it wasn't.
It was just like, don't have it out.
Yeah.
The teachers couldn't physically take it away from you.
Well, they did.
They did, but they weren't allowed to take out Nokia 3310s away. No. But as of 2020, the department was like, no phones in government schools.
Yeah.
The private schools can do what they wish. In government schools, there are no phones. And so if you're at your locker and you're trying to send a sneaky text and I see your phone, I'm like, hey.
Not even anywhere.
From 8:50 a.m. to 3 p.m., it has to be out of sight.
Not even lunch.
No.
Oh, shit.
No, you can't have it out. There's just too many issues.
Bad.
No, it's been, initially I was like, oh, it's never going to happen. Now it is amazing. Obviously, you still have students that
I wish I had that for myself.
8:50 a.m. it goes away.
It goes away.
And you're not allowed to look at it till 3 p.m.
Yeah.
It's a great rule. I mean, they pay attention a little bit more.
Yeah, they would.
But the rules are, if you see it, you have to confiscate it. Yeah. And it's not like I put it in my bag. I have to go take it to an office, and they put it away, and they chronicle it. So they'll put it up like, Vinny, phone misuse or whatever. Yeah, you get 3 times.
Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure it's still the same thing. After the 3rd time that it's been taken off you, your parent has to come and retrieve it.
Oh, damn.
I love that because you've done the wrong thing. You can go collect it at the end of the day. They'll give it back to you. Yeah. But the 3rd time, your parents have to come and get it. And imagine how unhappy. And sometimes there's just been phones sitting there over the weekend. Imagine how mad those kids are like. Because the parents are like, well,
they'll get another one.
Probably. They just go on the computers or the iPads to be able to communicate. But, their phones are away.
Do you guys use textbooks or just all laptops these days?
No, so there is a BYOD, so bring your own device.
Oh, really?
So schools, high schools, it's typically from year 7 onward, like you're expected to bring your own device. You take it to the school IT.
There's no more loose leaves.
No. They'll put Word and everything on it for you. But in high school you are.
Yeah.
At my school you're expected to have one. Obviously, there are some circumstances or some situations, or if it's broken or something's going on.
Mine will be broken every day.
We have like these loan iPads or whatever, but the teachers have to like sign them out, use it for that class, and you give it back.
Yeah.
Textbooks, yes, for particular subjects. So for maths, I'm pretty sure there's a textbook for like humanities. And like science, like they need the textbooks.
How do you catch out cheating and Googling? Like you can't, obviously you couldn't take that into an exam, could you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So exams are still written and stuff like that?
Exams are, for the most part, they're like on paper. I'm just trying to think about like for maths, they'll just be written. They're just on paper. In primary school.
Have caught anyone cheating?
Cheating, like as in right then and there?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I teach English. It's boring.
Women cheat. How do you cheat in English? Oh.
They cheat. I actually just had to... I'm pretty annoyed with this class because they had the easiest task. They just had to create a brochure. Like, get on a little pamphlet to advertise schoolies.
Yeah.
60%, no, more than like 70% of those students who have submitted have just cut and paste. 2 of them submitted the example that I gave them because it's all online. I'm like, here's an example for you to look at. And they're like, thank you. We'll just change the font and change the background color. She won't know. She won't look. I looked through it. And I thought my job was going to be easy, like sweet, pass, like competent. And I'm emailing everyone, please resubmit. You have copied and pasted.
Oh,
please
you
resubmit.
email students like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to.
Oh, it's no longer A's and B's?
No, that is like a big issue actually. When that.
I got S's.
Satisfactory. Mm-hmm. Satisfactory. That's different. We still have that. Like you can be satisfactory or not satisfactory. Yeah. So C. Whatever year level that you're in, C is where you should be. That's like an
average.
Yeah, that's like you're at standard.
Yeah, standard.
And then B would be above standard, and A is like, well above standard. But we don't use those as a I would never hand back a worksheet and be like, you got A+.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Okay.
The lettering is only for reports and
so you just hand it, go well done. Is that?
Yeah, you'd get we used to
Okay.
yeah. Needs a bit of work. So I get some questionable things submitted, to be honest, and I'm like, oh, just pass them. Like, it's just okay. Maybe they meant this instead.
Yeah.
No, I would give back. Usually it's online because I have to submit online.
Okay.
I'd read it. I'd give them a comment. Like, you have to give them some feedback. You did this well. You can work on this next time.
That's way better.
Yeah, and it's usually just like a competent or not yet competent.
I remember it was like, Vinny, C, in front of the whole class.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, not that I teach math, but in class, when I was a student, it'd have like your score on it. And like this out of this. And it's like, it's embarrassing. Actually, no, mine was not that bad.
Math was good, actually.
I had a tutor at one stage.
Kumon?
No.
Kumon?
No.
Oh.
But hey, how was it? Like, because we were looking for my son.
I didn't like it.
Oh, okay. We'll avoid that.
It worked. Mm-hmm. It definitely worked. I was a maths whiz till about year 8.
Till year 8?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're... just till year 8. And then what happened?
Just like, I want to go back. And
then you went to year 9. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see? Yeah, no, I had a tutor, like, it was actually a teacher from the school, and it was all hush-hush because she's, like, a teacher's not meant to come to your house.
Oh, yeah.
She did, like, a cashy job. She came to the house, she would tutor me, and she wasn't our math teacher, she was for the other classes.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is, one day, she pulled me aside, and she goes, you got me to help you with, like, a homework task that you were given from this teacher. I was like, yes. And then, and she'd basically done it all for me. And the conversation that they had in the office was, I know Keshni didn't do this work, but it's all correct. And I know she's getting help on it, but I don't know how to prove it. And that teacher's sitting there like, I did that. Like, I didn't,
Really?
she didn't tell. She was just thinking like, I did that shit. What did I get? Like, but yeah, no, maths just, yeah. They still have the same grading, yeah.
What subjects are there? Still math, English, of course.
Yeah. Humanities is a core subject.
We didn't have that.
It was SOS.
Oh, yeah, we did have that.
Yeah, SOS.
Social studies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's humanities. I taught humanities briefly, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Because they needed an extra staff member. So I
can't remember what social was about.
We learnt about, I taught about the war.
Oh, so it's a mixture of like history.
Yeah, a bit of history, a bit of like economic, like what's going on in society, and
yes.
And the class that I took, I remember it was like an extra, was all about it was about the economy, and I don't know. I don't know. I was like, what? Yeah. I don't understand. I don't know how to teach this.
So you're a sub at that point. So you're like, just do whatever you want.
No, so like you have a timetable as a staff member, but if you are under allotted, you could potentially pick up an extra class. Okay. So if like, I don't know, Mr. So-and-so's sick for the day, he's got 6 classes, I might get one of them.
Okay.
So instead of calling in a CRT, if we have it.
So how many classes how many different classes do you teach? Just English?
So I'm an English literacy teacher.
That's it?
That's what I should be. I'm actually primary school trained. I hate when people ask you this question because I'm primary school trained.
Okay.
I'm primary trained staff member.
Yep.
My degree is Bachelor of Early Childhood, and that is at the discretion of the principal, essentially. Okay. You can teach children, 13 years old, but then when you have students who are performing below what they should be,
that's the VCAL.
So a lot of students perform under, and primary school teachers get training. Secondary school teachers don't.
Yeah,
I enjoy what I do. But anyway, I migrated across to high school in 2019. Okay. Prior to that, I was primary school.
Would they ask you, or just like, was an opportunity to go, I can do high school and went over?
So once I graduated, I got a job in the southeast. And at that stage, my partner and I had just gotten engaged. And for every 2 or 3 jobs I applied for in the west side, I applied for one in the southeast because that's where he's from.
Yeah.
And the first one that I applied for down there, they called me for an interview. They loved me. They gave me a job straight away.
Oh.
The panic set in because, like down here, there wasn't a lot of development. There weren't a lot of new schools and not a lot of positions. Now it is. And down there, they needed more staffing. And so I got a job and we moved, and I was a prep teacher for a few years. So
prep would have been fun.
I loved it. Wholeheartedly loved it.
I'm like, dude, what do you want? Go,
no, that is
I just
so
think of
sweet.
kindergarten cop every time.
Hanging off your leg. Yeah, they cry and they call you mum by accident. They're very
do they
sweet.
really?
Like, mummy. And I look at them like, oh, bless. And I didn't have I wasn't a mum back then. I had a lot more energy. I loved it. And I always said, like, if a school ever wanted to get rid of me, like, they would put me in, like, grade 6 because all I ever wanted to do was teach prep. I loved it. And then I had my own. And you need a lot of patience with the little ones. And I was just like, oh, I can't do this. So I spoke to my then Prin at that school, and I was like, oh, look.
What?
Principal. Prin.
Prin.
Yeah. And I just was like, oh, look, I want to explore teaching the older ones because they will be able to communicate better. And, and it's exerting, like it's, again, like with childcare, the younger they are, the more energy you need. And I had a little one at home who was not sleeping. And
that was enough.
Yeah, and I was working full time, and I was like, I can't do it. So I taught 5/6s for a couple of years, loved it so much that I wanted to do it the year after. And they were like, we're going to put you back in prep. And I said, no, mentally I'm not able to facilitate that. And I think it would be a detriment to those little preppies coming in that need a teacher that wants to be there, and that's not me.
Yeah.
And so don't do that to them. Anyways, they didn't want to put me back in the 5/6s. They wanted me in prep. I mean, I guess lovely that they thought that I was a good prep teacher. But then, I had already been there for like 4 years at this stage, and an opportunity came up through transition. So I was taking the grade 6s, walking them across the road basically to the high school.
And showing them.
Because they had to do year 7 transition. Yeah. And just talking to the staff there, and they're like, what are you doing next year? Just try to chit-chat. And they're like, we have lots of jobs. And I said, oh, no, I'm primary trained. And they're like, we need primary teachers to come through here. And I said, but I don't have any piece of paper that says can teach in secondary school. And they're like, you don't need it. Just come for an interview.
Oh.
And so I applied and I got a job.
That's how it works?
The jobs are on one place.
Yeah.
Particularly for all the public schools.
Yeah.
So I went on and I applied for the job they were saying, and they called me for an interview, and I got the job. And
Year 7.
Year 7. Well,
8.
I did year 8s. I loved it because I had worked at our feeder primary school.
Oh, so same
It was
students?
all the students, and I loved it. Like, it was so familiar for me.
Yeah.
And so instead of having to get to know the students, the staff, the environment, it was, I was just focusing on the environment side and like the planning. But once I crossed that primary to secondary, I now look at primary school teachers and they do too much.
What do you mean by too much?
They do too much. They are so
overly worked.
Okay. But I was going to say that they micromanage to the core. They have so much on their plate. High school is this freedom that I never thought I would ever have. And when I started working, the older teachers in primary school, they'll be like, oh, high school teachers do nothing. High school teachers, like, they don't teach enough and they have too much spare time. Now that I'm on the other side, I'm like, no, we did too much. Like, primary school teachers need a break. Primary school teachers have too much contact and too much paperwork, too much admin. And high school, I got to leave and the sun was still out. And I was like, wow, what is this experience? And I left work one day. I remember calling my husband, like, I'm going to go pick up, like, my son, Javan. I'm going to go pick Javan up and it's like 4:00. And he's like, wait, don't you have a meeting? Don't you do paperwork? I was like, they said I could leave. And I ran. Yeah. And it was amazing. I'd never go back. You could not pay me enough. So I said that about childcare, underrated. And then primary school teachers come next to that, underrated.
Yeah, I couldn't do. I'm thinking, what could I do? I probably could. Yeah, I would have to do high school for sure.
You'd want that, be able to communicate with the
swear and
students.
stuff.
Yeah, you're not meant to do that.
Oh.
It happens. It happens. But yeah, we have like students that come through who are on their placement and who are doing degrees for both, or like they can work anywhere. I'm just in the corner like, go to high school. Don't go to primary school. Don't do it to yourself. Like,
but you probably would. You reckon you would have tried it if you went high school first? Or can people do?
You can.
Teachers?
People do that. I have known a few people that have done that, but they've always gone back to high school.
Oh, so like,
because they've seen they're out of there like so fast when they see the paperwork that they have to do and the amount of contact. Yeah, it's that contact time that you have to do, and it's like I feel so sorry for my son's teacher, and sometimes my husband will question like, oh, why isn't this done yet? I'm like, leave her alone.
Yeah.
I know why it's not done, because she's got a shit ton of everything else she has to do. Like, I appreciate primary school teachers so much more, and I always get a good present from me. Always.
Do you think it'd be? What would you do if your son had a bad teacher?
Yeah, I feel like I'd be able to pick up on that, like in terms of.
Like, what would you do? You can't take him. What happened to a bad teacher? They get disciplined.
Disciplined.
Go check yourself, or
there have been instances that I've observed.
Yeah. Because you're a teacher, also a parent. And just
Yeah, and that's where I feel like it's a bit conflicting sometimes, because I look at some situations that are happening, and I know the teacher's in the wrong. Like the adult in the room is in the wrong, and I would never undermine a staff member or a colleague in any way, and I would never just butt in and be like, hey, you're in the wrong right now. Leave the kid alone. You have to let it play out, because it's not your situation, and you're in a professional environment. But there was, I'm just thinking about a particular student. I'm trying to think of a name. Squritle spoke to me with the utmost respect from the day I walked into this school.
Yeah.
Always lovely, kind, respectful, spoke to me in a manner that made me believe that, he knew what he wanted. He knew he was able to articulate himself really well. Was he a little bit of a shit? Yeah, he was. He was a teenage boy. And one of the first conversations I had with Squritle was as a sub teacher. So it wasn't my core class. I just took it as an extra, and he was just kind of slouched in his seat, just kind of not giving a shit. And I walk around and I talk to my students all the time, because I think that one, you need to get to know your students, and students don't learn if they don't like you. Yeah, that's right. They're not going to learn from you if they don't like you. So I try to put my best foot forward and try to get to know them, show some interest. And I'm not fake, like, I'm like, where are you from? What do you do? What type of music? That kind of stuff. So anyways, I went over to him and he was like, oh, why are you talking to us? I was like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, all the other teachers just sit at the front on their laptop. And I was like, oh. I'm like, okay, well, I'm bored. So let me talk to you. Like, what's going on? I'm like, what's with the attitude? And he's like, oh, miss, this school is just not exciting. Yeah. It's not engaging enough for me. And when he said it's not engaging enough for me, I was a little thrown.
You use those words?
It's the words that we use in our meetings. Like, what can we do to make this engaging for students? And he's sitting there saying, this class is not engaging enough. And I was like, well, what would you like to see happen? He's like, I want my teacher to interact with me and to not sit at the desk behind a computer and say, open to page 360 or whatever.
I wish I said that shit. Damn.
Don't open to page whatever and tell us to read on our own silently. I was like, oh no, silent reading is shit. Like, you need to hear your voice. Otherwise you don't pick up the mistakes. Like, and he just was like, teacher, he goes, there are some great teachers that I've encountered, and there are some teachers that just don't care, and I've lost my enthusiasm for this class. I was like, okay. anyways, as time went on, I saw Squritle butt heads with a couple of teachers.
Yeah.
And particularly male staff members who'd butt heads with. And he was ethnic.
Okay.
Squrtle's ethnic.
Yeah.
And the staff were not.
Okay.
And there was a bit of like alpha male issue going on in these scenarios.
Yeah.
And the staff member, I guess, just wasn't backing down in this heated conversation. And
it'd be hard to back down as a teacher too.
it is, but you also can see when a situation is getting out of control,
It's
and you
beyond
need
being
to.
a teacher.
Yeah. It's just like, what are you doing to all the students in the class in that moment?
Yeah.
And you just calm down.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, you're going to go home, you're going to be calm, you're going to have your job tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
fine. This kid, though, is going to come back and he is going to have more of a vendetta against you.
Oh, yeah.
I just kept going back and forth. And this kid came and spoke to me out in the yard. I had yard duty. I hate yard duty. I saw this kid outside. I was like, hey, Squritle, how you going? And he's like, yeah, I'm good, miss, and how are you? Spoke to me beautifully after this incident that had just happened, and I expected him to be like, oh, F this and F that.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm good, thanks, miss. And, how's your son? How's your day been? Have you had many classes? And I was thrown, and I was like, look, I heard what happened. Are you okay? And he looked at me and he was just like, oh, I can't believe that you're asking me if I'm okay. Teachers, no one cared. Everyone's just yelled at me so far. And this particular background that he's from, I know that when he goes home and he's getting these phone calls, it's not going to be pretty for him.
Yeah.
It's not going to be lovely. And I try to, talk to a different staff member about it, just like, hey, the disciplinary actions that will happen at home are different to maybe what you expect. And they're just like, we don't, whatever. Don't care. He's acted this way. I was like, well, why is he acting this way? Anyways, his parents got involved, school got involved, external services are now involved, and this situation was not his fault. I don't think. I think it got escalated because of the adult in the room.
Okay. Well, he's the adult in the room, so.
Yeah, and I think, there were just, in that instance, his parents had his back, but I feel like if my son was in a situation where it's something's just going horribly wrong, I need to know what's going on. If he's really uncomfortable, we can change his class. Hey, that's all good. There are 10 science teachers. You can go to another one. There are so many math teachers. You can go to another one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to have him sit in a room where he's not learning because he's focusing too much on fighting this, a teacher. Or being mistreated by a teacher.
I mean, that helps from being a teacher. On both sides.
Just yesterday I was talking to a wellbeing staff member at our school.
A well-being.
Yeah, we have like psychs. We have staff trained
I think they've always had
specifically.
that.
I think we did.
we did.
We had
I think we had a
sick bay. Sick bay. No, we had staff who were there for wellbeing.
Yeah.
But this is on steroids. This is we have a whole department focus that they'll come and speak to the students. That as soon as a student is flagged for any reason, they're on top of it. And our wellbeing at my current school, amazing. They do their best. And
I'm assuming most schools would be pretty good.
Some schools are very understaffed, which is sad because they can't help everyone. But our school's doing pretty good. But I was just talking to a staff member from there, and we're talking about she's got younger kids as well, and some are in high, some are at the current school. It's fine. So and I was just saying that I don't think that I could teach where my son, when he wants to come to my school really badly. So he's like, Mommy, I want to go to your high school. I was like, I can't do that because I wouldn't be seen professionally anymore because I'm too emotional. And also I'm nosy. And so I would be in his business. Who are you playing with? He's like, did you play with anyone at recess? And if something was going wrong or if academically he wasn't doing well, I'd be the mum and I couldn't do that. And we're just talking about how we'd go about that, and he needs to be somewhere else for me to stay professional.
Yeah. Laverton.
I would have actually loved to work at Laverton. Would have loved to kind of go back.
Yeah.
And pay my dues.
Pay your dues.
I don't know. I just feel like the kids in that area, they just were,
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Fuck, I wish that you were my teacher. Damn.
Yeah, I wish I was my teacher. No, that's tooting my own. No, I do try. I'll be honest. I try really hard. I do invest emotionally in a lot of my students.
Yeah.
So I find that can be a bit taxing, but I do try really hard to make them feel like they're heard and that I'm not there to just be like, stand up, put your socks up, sit down, look at me, and, and like, you know, pray. Yeah, I just think that's stupid. Like, that's not where we're headed as a society. And I don't want I want there to be the same level of, you know, respect, like a mutual respect there, but I don't ever expect more than what I'm giving.
Yeah. In life in general.
In general, yeah. Which is hard.
So what's next? Principal?
No.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No. No.
But that's how a principal happens? Like, they just teach
Yeah, you just work your way up. You have to obviously show, like, you'd have to be doing all the little leadership roles and putting your hand up to do all these things. But no, I don't see myself in a principal's chair. I'm like, okay, you can just wear whatever you want to school. Like, that's fine. Have 10 PCs. That's fine. No, I don't. I think there'd be an immense amount of pressure and workload and
kind of
but
like
also
the
I don't
CEO of the
but
school.
also you also then are disengaged from the classroom. You don't have the same impact.
Okay.
And
you're just more managing teachers.
Yeah, and although Prince my principal's lovely, and although they always try and be seen and be part of the kind of the commoners of the school, like he tries. There's so much more that they have to do that they're not in the classroom teaching and they're getting to know the students one-on-one. And I feel like in my career so far, you know, easily there's a handful of students that I'm like, okay, I know I helped that one student. And it's got nothing to do with academics. It'd be like, I know I helped them and like something personal.
So you know that down the line that kid's going to like,
and I hope that one day that they look back as a late teen or an adult and like, oh, you know, missing, she was my favorite teacher. I would, that would mean a lot. But also, you know, I look back at a couple of my teachers and I think they're the reason that got me through whatever I was going through, or they really went out of their way when they didn't have to. And then there are teachers like that one who slapped at me and I'm just like, oh.
And the one that choked that kid.
Yeah. Who just don't even want to be there. And I want that for my son too. I want him.
So what's next? TAFE. No.
I have thought about it.
Really?
I have thought about it. But right now I've got she's about to turn 1.
Yeah.
She's consumes so much of my time. But right now I think just kind of getting back into the groove of work. So I was on maternity leave and I went back in term 4 of this year.
And the pandemic as well, right?
And the pandemic. And I feel like, so after my son, I went back to work and I was dealing with a lot postpartum. And then when I was kind of ready and on my feet to be like, okay, you know what, I can tackle either studying again or tackle doing another role, you know, building my career. Then we had another baby. And then so you take a few steps back as a mum. And I'm not mad about it. It's just at this stage in life, I just want to be back in the classroom and
teach,
being there. Just helping the ones that need me. And the foreseeable.
How about if the opportunity came? It's like, hey, you want to be a principal?
No. I mean, wait, can I say yes and get the pay for a little bit and then go back? And but no, I don't think that's for me at this stage. I would love to work with some TAFE students, and I think that's coming from me working with the year 10, 11s and 12s
Yeah.
who are doing, or were doing VCAL, now VM. Yeah, I wouldn't mind, but right now I'm happy where I am.
Nice. Well, that was fun.
That was a trip down memory lane
Yeah,
for
it was.
sure.
Learned about it more about school than I was in school, actually.
I'm glad. Because I think we forget and people have this skewed.
I mean, it's
version.
it's a big part of your life, school. Like it's 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years of school.
I try to remind that to the students, like, hey.
8 hours a day, like Monday to Friday. It's a job. It's like,
Yeah, I spend more time with those kids than I do with my own.
yeah.
Like in their wakeful period,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
which is sad.
Yeah, even in childcare as well, too. Looks after a lot of kids.
I've dealt with a lot of kids, yes, and there's definitely a few that are etched forever in my mind. But yeah, it's a good career.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
So, before we ended, the teaching just came, like, from childcare. It's like, oh, I can be a teacher. That's it. Wasn't like, one day, I want to be a teacher. Because teacher's like one of those jobs when you're young, like, oh, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a teacher.
Yeah, looking back now, there was a teacher, and it was when I moved to Australia. Spoke zero English. My parents put me in Laverton,
Yeah.
and there was a teacher there, and her name was Miss Sabul. She was my first teacher here, and I remember I couldn't speak a word of English, and I had gone over to her. I wanted a new pencil. My pencil had broken.
Yeah.
And so I walked over and I said it all in Hindi, and everyone in the class, at this stage, there was just my brother, myself, and 2 other students that were brown in Laverton Primary
Yeah.
School. There were some Asians,
Yeah.
but everyone else was very Caucasian.
Yeah.
1995 or
Yeah.
4. And, all the kids were like, oh, she's talking. Like, they were just staring at me. I still feel it. Oh, bless her. She was so lovely. She put her arm around me. She had no idea what I said, except the one word that was the same in Hindi was just pencil.
Yeah.
And so she's gotten all the different things possibly, to
Yeah.
offer me. She's like, this.
Yeah.
And then when she held up like a sharpener and a new pencil, I was like, oh, yeah, like that's what I want. Like she saw I got happy. She gave it to me. I went off on my way. And that one interaction was like, okay, she understood me. She took the time. She nurtured me in that little moment.
Yeah.
And I remember I would play with my dolls at home and read them books. And she used to wear red lipstick, so I put on red lipstick and I'd read
Shit.
books to my dolls and teddies and all of that. But it was never like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher. She did inspire me, and I used to role play her a lot.
Yeah.
Sadly, she passed away before the year ended. But she's the one teacher that I remember the most. And the one interaction that I had, that particular interaction I had with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now looking at it, it's like, fuck, maybe
that was what,
Yeah,
it was always in the back of my mind, maybe.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool story.
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro. Well, that was great. Thank you very much.
Thank
coming
you
on
for
the
having me.
podcast. It's a lot easier than you think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's funny. I get up
Fun.
in front of students and talk all the time. And
Oh, yeah, you do.
I tell them every time, like, I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
Like, I break out in a sweat every time. But no, thank you.
No, it's good.
It was lovely.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
No,
bye.
No, okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I put the work in, whole squad be urchin. I put the work in, whole squad be urchin.